hear that? That is the crisp, cool sound of cracking open another episode of the Grunge Bible podcast. You know what that means? Monday just dropped into the flood again. Same old trip it was back then. We're back. My name is Ethan Shalloway. This is the Grunge Bible podcast. The Drunk Bible podcast. I'm joined by Chris.
Bible Godcast.
The Godcast. I'm joined by Chris Salona. Woo!
Yeah.
Cheers from the people. And
cheers, man.
This is episode 177. There's no reason to name or to number each episode at the beginning except pats ourselves on the back. And
there's no reason to cry. Exactly.
There's no reason to cry, but we're back in the saddle to record another episode.
Yeah, we are. So I got to tell you, Ethan, before we check in with how we're doing, and this could probably lead into it, being that we're 177 episodes in, there's not many firsts for us left with doing podcasts, although we are checking off a first right now in the sense
it's at
that
least a PB.
Yeah, in the sense that we were recording this a mere 11 hours before this episode is released. We're recording this on Sunday night, August 11th, and it's dropping at 6:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday, August 12th. So there's a lot that happened. The days kind of got away from us here a little bit. But you know, the Grunge Bible podcast. Yeah, it's just
at
the way
same
it goes.
time. This is what podcasters do. You know, the ones I listen to, they watch the Sunday night football game, and there's a podcast the next morning
immediately
out about it.
and they start reacting.
They do it. One guy, it's 10 o'clock Pacific, but the guys on the East Coast, they're doing it at 12, 1 o'clock. They're getting that podcast in, and it could be after a day. It's a day full of eating wings, watching football, playing golf, or whatever. Sometimes, sometimes you get drunk Sal on the pod. Sometimes you get drunk Chris.
Sometimes.
or hungover Chris.
Yeah, man. And with that, I want to ask you, Ethan, how are you doing today?
Well, hopefully you can tell by the episode title. This is Sunday Beers. So I cracked open 2 beers for this one because I'm actually off tomorrow. Brian's got to go get a truck.
Oh,
so I
wish I was off tomorrow.
Not that I'm getting hammered, but I might.
One like and I'll drink till 6.
Yeah. No, my energy levels are high. I sometimes, this episode is going to be a relaxed one. We got some questions and we got some answers, and
nice.
We got some good banter, which I really like. So
totally.
I don't feel a lot of pressure about it. So I'm just having a good conversation with one of my best friends. No problem.
That's good, man. Yeah, I echo those sentiments a lot. Feels
and
good.
I like that we're doing it Sunday night. It's kind of, why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere we have to go after this except bed. So it's not too bad.
What about you, Chris? How are you doing?
Oh, man. This past week, I took such good care of myself. I felt amazing. And then Friday evening, my grandparents, they're born a year and a day apart, so their birthdays are always back-to-back days on the calendar.
Oh, awesome.
And, yeah, it was super cool. So my grandfather turned 88 and my grandmother turned 87. So Friday was my grandmother's 87th and Thursday was my grandfather's 88th. So we took them out to dinner on Friday evening, which was great. So I worked, went to the gym. We went out with them, visited, for the rest of the night. Then I came home, and Saturday was a busy day. I went out to the Ocean Mist, which is a great beach bar here in Rhode Island, in southern Rhode Island, and that turned into an extended day of various debaucherative activities. It was great. It was awesome. And then a couple of my buddies are in town who don't really, they don't live here, so they both stayed at my house Saturday night. And this morning, Sunday morning, we woke up at 7:30 in the morning to watch the handball gold medal match between Denmark and Germany. So we watched that. That ended around 9:15, and then we all decided that we wanted to run out to grab some Dunkin' Donuts, just to grab some coffee, because I didn't have anything in the house. I was at the end of the line grocery wise. So we went out 9:15 to go grab some coffee, and I just got back at 6 p.m. So it was just one of those. We went to coffee, and then by the time we were sitting at coffee for like an hour or two, the bars were opening up, so we decided we might as well go and enjoy ourselves a little bit. When we bar hopped most of the day, I got a lot of good patio time this afternoon, which was fantastic. And then I just dropped one of my friends back back off and hit the grocery store on the way home. And now I'm sitting in the podcast seat, ripping and roaring. So I'm pretty exhausted. Yeah, I wore myself a little thin.
Oh yeah.
The last 36 hours.
There's always a podcast waiting for you. Too.
There's always a podcast waiting for you. And here it is.
We talked on the phone this morning, and I could tell that you were not going to be ready to. I could tell that you were not going to be ready to podcast for the night, and I knew that. When your friends are in town, you just stay out a little longer. You stay out. I'm sure one of the guys wanted to hit the road earlier.
Well,
he stay a little longer.
Yeah, we were like, all right, like I like to get on the road by lunchtime, and I mean lunchtime turned into 5:30 p.m. So
yeah,
it was good though. It was all, and this is what it's about. And you can always podcast later. You can't always hang out later. So
yeah, there's no problem. I mean,
that ain't no problem.
Yeah. Like I said, it's coming out on Monday, so the listeners have no idea. We didn't have to tell them anything. You know what I mean?
we could have said we recorded this 3 months ago.
Maybe we did.
Maybe we did. You'll never know. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm taking it easy. I'm a little tired. I can't wait to shower after this and honestly just get in bed and go to bed. I'm really looking forward to that. The alarm will be set for 5:30 tomorrow morning. So I'm already got 10 hours until I get up. So that's all right.
Something else. Yeah. No problem though. No problem. Yeah. I hope that this will be a good podcast. So I hope we both enjoyed recording it and you guys enjoyed listening it. Thank you so much for clicking into the podcast and showing us some love. I hope you guys make it to the end of the podcast. We have a special surprise at the end.
Yeah, we do.
Not really, but
there's always a surprise at the end.
Yeah, there's always a surprise at the end. So, I'm doing well. You're doing well. Let's move on. Let's get to some of the episode, huh?
Yeah, man, let's do it. So this episode is brought to you by Chris Salona and Ethan Shalloway, and Drew McFadden as well. In addition to that trio, it's brought to you by beer. We've got Coors Light in Ethan's hand, and I have a Rolling Rock Mimosa in my hand. I'm
not
finishing.
A paid sponsorship.
Not a paid. No,
if you work for a beer company, we'd love to take. It just so happen to be at Silver Bullets and Rolling Rocks here.
Yep, exactly. So I'm finishing my day as I began it. I had a Rolling Rock Mimosa at 7:30 this morning and 7:30 at night. I'm closing the day in the same fashion. But
how are they? Let's get a. Before you get to the picture, let's get a beer review.
It goes down smooth, man. Like Rolling Rock tastes not good, right? Rolling Rock is good. Rolling Rock is good because it's not good.
I only like it because it's the first beer I ever had.
Exactly, and you never forget your first. But I'll tell you,
beers.
You pour the 12-ounce can into the glass, and you just top it off, to maybe half an inch below the fill level of the pint glass with some OJ. And I'm telling you, it goes down, and it's smooth. It tastes refreshing. I'm getting my vitamin C.
Right,
I'm vetting my vitamin C.
I was wondering the color of the beer. I was like, okay, I didn't know that Rolling Rock made a mimosa beer.
No, this is a DIY.
Yeah, this is a beer mosa.
Yeah, we're beer mosing right now.
That's awesome. That's really, really incredible. And I wish I had one right now as well. The only thing I have in my fridge would be milk, and I don't know if milk and beer
it's like some variation of a White Russian.
Yeah. Awesome. So give it a rating out of 10.
Oh, dude, honestly, like
Sunday night beer,
this morning's beer mosa was like an 8 out of 10. This one's honestly a 9.5 out of 10. I needed this right now. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Can you have a hair of the dog on the same day that you drank?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what this is.
Yeah, you're doing exactly what you did this morning, 12 hours later.
It's all
you probably were up at. Damn, I wish I had that morning. That sounds so much fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I have no complaints about it. What would you rate your beer right now? Just standard Silver Bullet, huh?
Standard Silver Bullet. Mountains are blue. Yes, it's cold in the fridge. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes these have been very metallic. That's something that light beers sometimes I can't get past. But for some reason, I just had some excitement to have a beer. So it's crisp, and I'm gonna give it a 6.5, which is really good for a light beer, I think.
Yeah, it's solid. It gets the job done.
Yeah, I don't want to just say 7, but it's good. Nice. Next one will be better, right?
The next one's always going to be better. So with that being said, I don't have a creative segue, but it's time to thank the Patreon supporters, particularly those who give us $10 a month for our top tier. The long-standing offer of the last 2 weeks continues here, where if you join the Patreon between the release of this episode and the recording of the following episode, we will do an episode about whatever you want us to do. So we did that last week with the Music Bank, thanks to Disciple of Riff Lord Jerry69 joining the Patreon at the top tier. So the invitation is open. If there's something you're really jonesing for us to talk about, if you're jonesing with curiosity about certain topics, just join the Patreon at $2, $5, or $10 per month, and we will contact you and do an episode on a topic of your choosing. But nevertheless, the top tier supporters, $10 a month to Grunge Bible to make us run this podcast and keep us going here into our 177th episode. I'd like to thank Kara K, Black Hole Sean, D-Boat, Doug Endy, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Down in a Hole Flat Out Fucked, Fuck Soup, Epona, Gochu John, Granny Grunge, Holy Disciple of Riff Lord Jerry 69, Jamie Lynn, Jade Mercado, Carlene Salona, Keith White, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, Nikki Six, Millie Russell, Seattle 4 fanboy from New Jersey, What the Fuck is Up Denny's, and Sherry Matthews. So thank you to those individuals for letting us roll all the way to episode number 177.
If you're watching on
Raise
YouTube,
my glass to the-
I will raise my glass and drink to that. Exactly. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
The Patreon.
That is fantastic. What do you say we talk about what's going on in this day in music history, Ethan?
That's right. This day in music history. Back in all the way in 1949, the great Mark Knopfler is born. And
the creator of perhaps the greatest guitar riff ever, Money for Nothing.
One of the best intros into one of the best, like, mystic feeling, just kind of like Phil Collins in the Air Tonight type of atmosphere. And then his guitar comes cutting in. And just an incredible guitarist for Dire Straits. Incredible.
You got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchen delivery.
Dude, their songs are fire too. They're like,
except Walk of Life. Voice. That's the worst song in the world.
There you have it. Worst song in the world.
It's really bad, in my humble opinion. Moving forward,
no reason needed. We're good.
Yeah, that's it. Happy birthday to Mark Knopfler, turning 75 years old today. On this day, August 12th, 1966, at a Beatles press conference in Chicago to promote the beginning of their American tour, John Lennon said the following: "We're more popular than Jesus now. I don't know which will go first, rock and roll or Christianity." Later on, Lennon was clearly shaken by the controversy that ensued from that quote, and he tried to clarify what he said when he said that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. He said he was pointing out the fact, in reference to England, that we meant more to kids than Jesus did, or religion at that time. I wasn't knocking it or putting it down. I was just saying it as a fact. So what do we think about that? So did rock and roll outlast Christianity? I mean, Christianity's still here. Rock and roll. I don't I
don't think it outlasted Christianity. I mean, the Beatles, they're not more
didn't
popular
outlast
than
John
Jesus.
Lennon.
Yeah. I mean, the Beatles are hanging on, and people still talk about them, but
people still talk about them.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, honestly though, like,
it's a funny quote. I mean, it's an interesting quote by, one of the rock and roll greats, I guess.
I'll tell you though, from like a societal standpoint, the last like 20, 30 years, like Jesus' stock is down a little bit. Like people have been selling Jesus a little bit. I mean, I'm just talking from a pure numbers stock. Oh, that's the thing. I mean, I never bought.
They both, I was gonna say, at least people had Jesus stock.
That's the thing. I mean, you look at the numbers. I mean, not as many people are going to church as there used to be. So it's hard to say. I don't know, like the Jesus Lennon stock exchange, what the value would be on that. I know the stocks got hit pretty hard this past week, so I don't know how this one was impacted.
Well, I got stock in Jesus, and I'm sure it'll go back up at some point.
Jesus is just all right with me, man.
That's right. When Jesus comes back, Jesus is just all right with me. So, John Lennon, and I'm not surprised that he said something like that, comparing himself to Jesus.
Yeah, me neither.
So, moving to 1970, Janis Joplin plays her final show. And, that's tough because we lost Janis early.
27 Club.
Right, 27 Club. So, I'm not sure how close this was to her.
She passed on October 4th, 1970. So a couple months, probably the end of a touring engagement at the time. And October 4th, she died at the age of 27.
Yeah, so a little somber note. But Janis, extreme talent. A lot of people love and say that she's one of the best female voices in rock history. Rightfully so, I understand. I mean, just had charisma out the wazoo. And maybe a Janis Joplin tribute episode is needed. I would love to. Honestly, I'd love to hear someone else talk about it.
Yeah, seriously, we'll take a back
I'd like to
seat.
listen to an episode of that.
Yeah, we've got some Joplin aficionados out there.
I'm sure there's some really good documentaries out there and some stuff that you guys can check out that will be better than what we put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we've got a little bit of a Janis Joplin through line for this next one. On this day in 1994, Woodstock 94 began in Saugerties, New York, which commemorated the 25th anniversary of the OG Woodstock. We are coming up on the anniversary of the OG Woodstock.
30 years.
30 years for this one. And I think the original Woodstock was like the August like 12th, or no, not the 12th, like the 16th or so, because I'm waiting to post that Canned Heat video again, where whatever that guy from Yankton, Pennsylvania bums a cig from Bob Height. So that's coming up soon. I've been thinking about that one. So 30 years, Woodstock 94 began on this day. So we've got one more music history anecdote for today.
Now, you take this one. I think you can have more bravado when it comes.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah. I want to hear you say it.
I mean, it's not up to us what's on this day in music history, but on this day in 2008, Mark David Chapman, the man who killed John Lennon, was denied parole for the 5th time. He is still currently incarcerated. He's at Greenhaven Correctional Facility, which is located in New York. So he's still there. And he's old now, 69 years old. Got a couple Lennon things going on here. I don't understand why this was on the list, like why the lists that we draw this from felt the need to include this, but we just have to share the news.
Yeah, well, they're reaching for straws as well, trying to put stuff on there. So
a lot of people are reaching for straws.
Awesome. So that's This Day in Music, and also the Grunge Bubble Podcast, episode 177 comes out. That'll be historic one day.
Yeah.
Moving on, I want to start off the question and answer with a question that has to do with maybe some Woodstock and some Canned Heat.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say this one's from me, I guess. So we have Refried Boogie 1, Boogie Part 2, and we have Fried Hockey Boogie, Woodstock Boogie. We need another boogie, Chris. Give us your best boogie name. What do we got?
I mean, honestly, like the hungover boogie would be pretty good. Like you figure something like that. Like I always think about like Soundgarden's live performances in like 91 when they just slow it down and it's just super sloppy. Like a hungover boogie like that. Like you're just like Thorogood-esque, like Bob Height-esque, just like kind of knocking some stuff over, just some really, really long, slow solos. But they're like the drummer obviously is just, and the bassist, they're keeping everything together, because that's their role. So yeah, I think the hungover boogie would be absolutely chef's kiss.
Yeah, I like that. I think that, refried boogie and a fried hockey boogie.
Fried hockey boogie is very underrated.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that has something to, it's got to be something to do with, getting fried and, smoking and then
probably.
So I'm going to say like, maybe like 3 beers boogie or something like that.
Yeah, well, because that could turn into, there's a
couple beers boogie. Like, and you have part 1, 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer boogie, you have, and you follow it up with the hungover boogie at the end of the night.
Well, and I think Canned Heat had an album and it was just called Boogie with Canned Heat. That's the thing. I mean, you figure Woodstock was many years ago at
just
this point.
Boogie music.
People always talk about like what happened to grunge, what happened to different elements of music. What happened to the boogie? Like people don't boogie anymore.
Dude, the boogeyman.
Exactly. It's people.
The boogeymen.
The boogie. Exactly.
Like the boogeymen.
Like you just don't hear about these things as much.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we need to bring it up
anymore. It's unfortunate.
Those
are two solid answers.
Yeah, that's good. I just like the idea. I mean, they got boogies and they're just kind of randomly naming them the way they want. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a question over on the Patreon chat. If the big four frontmen were Olympic sports, what would they be? And I've got good news for that, because way back on episode number 21, we did this exercise back in the summer of 2021 when the Tokyo Olympics were going on. We pretty much married different grunge musicians. Yeah, that was we were out of ideas. We're only 20 episodes in that we decided to do a grunge Olympics podcast episode. But that could be an interesting one, perhaps, to listen back to. And see what we. I don't remember who we chose for what, but it's a good one to have down there.
Probably Chris Novoselic for swimming. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I could see him playing handball too. Yeah,
in the handball zone.
I'm sure I gave that.
Who has the best arm in music?
Oh man, best arm in music. Oh, I have to say,
I would say probably a drummer. I was going to say guitarist, but probably a drummer.
Yeah, I would say
Sure.
Mark Lanigan was a great baseball pitcher in high school, and then he just didn't pursue academics at all, and obviously was not destined for college athletics or anything. But the legend has it that he was a pretty talented pitcher. So I think he could be up there for sure. But yeah, drummer. I mean, drummers. I mean, I would say their physical fitness is usually top tier out of anybody in the band, just because of how demanding that is in particular. So I could see a drummer perhaps, being one of the more athletic, having a good arm.
Awesome. Yeah. So check out that other episode. We won't try to marry them right now to some sports.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a question from Holy Disciple of Riff Lord Jerry 69 over on the Patreon, and it's twofold. Would you consider having some fans on the pod, Ethan? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have definitely had conversations about, obviously, our top level Patreon supporters, having them on, doing some stuff. And the only reason we haven't done it is because sometimes me and Chris suck and we just haven't done it,
This is true.
That's literally the only reason.
The same people that are asking like when we're coming out with sweatshirts and merch. The answer why we haven't is just because we suck.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Like, it's hard, it sucks, and like we're just doing our best like everybody else. So yes, we will absolutely consider and try and get that done. Yeah. It's not a problem. Just the problem is when we try to record it Sunday night at 6:30.
Exactly. Like the last thing we could possibly think about is having somebody else on and inviting somebody else into this hellscape that is recording a podcast 11 hours before it's supposed to come out.
But we'll do it. And you know what?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Maybe the next person that gets to the top level will be the first person that
can be on.
I don't know. Do they get to cut the line like that?
I feel that feels a little disingenuous to me, to be honest with you.
It sounds, I guess we've had Patreon supporters on the pod, actually. Your mom.
Yes. Yeah. Carlene Salona has been on the pod.
Yeah.
I know Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, has been jonesing to be on the pod.
I just with curiosity.
I just hung out with him this weekend. He wants to do a Wonder Years episode, which we should totally do. And he should come on for that. But the bulk of this question was, to the general effect of, do you think that Pearl Jam went in the right direction after 10 and Versus, changing?
There's a real question there.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a real question here. Kind of changing their style with what came afterwards, with the Yields and the No Codes and Binaural. He called those albums good but weird. I'm all for that. I mean, they gave you 3 albums. You think about Vitalogy, 3 albums of exactly what you want, and then it's time for them to do exactly what they want, and different things that they might have been, to use the phrase of the day, jonesing with curiosity to explore. I love it. I mean, it's cool to follow a band's evolution. And Pearl Jam's got a great one. I mean, especially now. I mean, I think they're 13 studio albums deep. And there's a through line to all of them. You can draw a line between one to the next, all the way to the present day. And I think that's really special than if they just continue to reinvent the same wheel every single time.
Yeah, I think just shouting out, obviously, Riff Lord Jerry 69. I believe that he's in college, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So we're in college, and so we have this weird thing about kind of coming to the music as a whole and look at the whole discography, and this is what you're doing, getting into it, and we did it as well. So we get to ask these questions of why did they do that, because when we look at it, we have no frame of reference. We're a kite without a string here.
Yeah, we're like a child who wanders into the middle of a movie.
Yes, exactly. Like we don't really have. So I was actually just talking to somebody because I saw the Dirty Heads, and I've seen them 10 years ago, or Front Bottoms, and you've seen these bands. or just in general, you maybe you haven't seen them, but you've listened to them when they first came out. So like,
Yeah.
Post Malone, I'm gonna say it. Like, I don't like being that person, but I knew him before he was big. I did.
Yeah.
Because Dirty J actually posted him in like 2016.
That's cool.
And I remember, he posted him. He's like, this guy's going to be big. And I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is great. And then he obviously exploded. And I'm a Posty fan, but it's a lot tied to, because I did listen to him pretty early in his career, and I've watched his career change. And now he just released a country album, and I'm just like you said, I'm there. I've been there from the beginning, so I'm like all for it. Like, I'm not mad at all. Dirty Heads have changed. Like, everybody changes how they go, especially 5 years, 10 years in. And like, when you're there from the beginning, I have, as far as me, like, if they're really one of my favorites, I have so much grace for them trying new stuff and doing stuff like Mumford and Sons. I remember that they had a big departure from their Little Lion Man album and some of the other stuff, and they're like a lot more electronic, but like, they gave me 4 albums that I love that was so good. Like, yeah, you guys did everything you need for me. Go ahead and do so. I feel like the same for Pearl Jam. Like, if I was following them and I loved them for like 5-6 years, and they get older, I mean, it's very clear that when you get older, you can't have the same performance, stage energy. I mean, people hang on and do it for a long time, but it's just a different show. And so, like, I think that you just kind of grow with it, and usually you're okay. Like, it's not the same as the first time I saw him. Well, that was 10 years ago, so
exactly,
no problem.
The other thing to consider with that too is that time is long, right? And just because you don't dig something the moment you discover it doesn't mean that you're not going to come back to it at some point. And for this example, I mean, if you're really taking a deep dive into Pearl Jam when you're 19, 20, 21, as we did, just because something might not hit right away, you revisit them as you get older, and your tastes can change, and what you're looking for out of the music can change too. So I think the more the band challenges you as a listener, maybe to get out of that comfort zone, to get out of like the verses and 10 comfort zone, it challenges you, and I think it grows your palate as a fan of music, and you learn different things, and you learn to appreciate different things, which is important. So I'm all for it. I love it when I love the experimental stuff. I love the outside of the box stuff.
In the same breath, if you're listening to young Pearl Jam, and when they were 22 years old, 23 years old, when you are 21 to 23 years old, it's going to hit.
There's nothing better than that. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to hit exactly like if you were there live. And then now, if you're listening to when you're 30, I've heard people say, like, I would have loved this when I was younger. My dad says it too. But like, if I was young, I would have loved this. So the same goes for listeners. Like, when you are young, you like different things than when you're older. And it's always like, but now this is more what I want to listen to. And that's probably how the band is, making music. Like, this is more what I want to play. Yeah. So it just kind of goes hand in hand. And like I said, we're just 13 studio albums. I think that we should just praise the fact that we have that much music 13. To sift through.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not ranking the top, I'm not ranking Nirvana's 4 studio albums. I get to rank 13 or whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've got one more from the Patreon chat, and then we can spread our wings into different areas where people ask questions.
Let me fly, Chris.
Let them roll. You're a peacock, man. This comes from Black Hole Sean, and Black Hole Sean asks, Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, and Pearl Jam all now require a female front woman from today's era to make their comeback complete. Who should they choose? And maybe we don't have to pick one for all of those bands, but out of Nirvana, STP, and Soundgarden, if there is a perfect union that you could hear in your head right now between a current female front woman to front those bands, to front any single one of them.
This is a good question.
Yeah, this is a really contemplative one.
Yes, this is like one that I think with more time I'd have a really good answer. I'm trying to go through quick.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not sure which of those 3 bands she would fit in, but I absolutely love and adore Rachel Price from Lake Street Dive. She does a lot of the vocals for Lake Street Dive, and I just think she has so much versatility with her voice that she could crush. I think she could crush Soundgarden, and it would be really, really cool. I mean, obviously with Soundgarden, you go to Brandi Carlile because she's performed with the surviving members of Soundgarden in the past and has released cover versions of a Black Hole Sun, as well as Searching with My Good Eye Closed. And then obviously with recent events on the page, Olivia Rodrigo's got to be somewhere in there. I think she could rock some Nirvana out for sure.
You think so?
I think she could. Yeah, I think she could. Totally.
I wouldn't have put her with Nirvana.
Yeah. STP?
Yeah, STP. For Nirvana, I would actually think, like, I feel like we need to bring it up. Like, if Miley Cyrus were to join one of these bands, I think that she would fit Nirvana because she has this edge and probably is not liked by 50% of the population.
And her vocals, I think, would suit it really well.
Yeah, I mean, Olivia is obviously really talented, but I feel like Miley, like, she has a rock side to her, and like, would be really interesting. That's a really good pick for Nirvana. Yeah, like I mean, she's done some Soundgarden. You know, obviously, she did the tribute, but like, Nirvana would have to be a really special kind of like, I don't want to say outcast, but somebody with counterculture, and Miley might.
All right, yeah, I like that line of thought.
And STP, I mean, yeah, could be either of the other two.
Yeah. I mean, STP are still touring right now with Jeff, so I don't want to.
Of course.
I don't want to necessarily cast stones
I don't want to shit on shit. I don't want to go. We need a Goot episode.
Yeah, we do. Goot, Scoot, and Boogie.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm full of them today.
All right, Chris, I got one for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we have. It's like your kill one, screw one, marry one, but in concert venue form. We got one night stand, residency, or burn it to the ground. Okay, so you get one night show, you get to play there for a long time, or you got to wipe it off the map. We got the Kia Forum, MSG, and Wembley Stadium.
Oh man, I really don't love the concept of residencies. Wembley's way too big to have a residency. That would just be absolutely hilarious. like here I am playing 5 nights a week at Wembley Stadium. I think I'm going to burn the Kia Forum off the map. I'm going to do a residency at MSG a la Billy Joel so I can beat his record out. And then just, what was he at? One night stand. Yeah, just one headlining show at Wembley. And
which
just
makes
absolutely
total sense.
Rip it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I guess I didn't think about it, how big Wembley is. And that's obviously the perfect one night stand.
Like 80,000 people in there, I think.
So you got to burn down. Yeah, that's crazy. So they got to burn down the LA venue with the New York venue. And
I think so. I mean, I'm an East Coast guy, and there's a reason why. I mean, MSG has the reputation of being the world's most famous arena, and I think there's a lot of credence to that.
Let's just burn Wembley down and just have the one night in Kia, and then just hang out
coast to coast. Okay, that could be a good idea for sure. Yeah,
I've never been to Wembley. See,
I've also never been. I've never been to England, so Maybe someday in the future we'll go have some pints with Black Hole Sean.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I've got a good one here that could be topical for tomorrow, actually. Good friend Matt Wilkes wants to know, any secret hangover remedies?
Ooh, I like that. Secret hangover remedies. Okay. You kind of got to, do whatever you're doing the night before. So if you're drinking, I think you got to, a few drinks, obviously, no secret there. One remedy that I love that if I'm really hurting, if I'm hurting for certain, it's the coldest shower you can get. Like, you just like as cold as it can get. Obviously, one time I was in the Finger Lakes for a bachelor party, and that water was ice cold, and you just let it hit the top of your head, and just let your head freeze over, and man, that does really good. And then you have a cup of coffee. And you throw in some Zyn, you get a little nicotine. Yeah. And that's, sometimes that's kind of, that's like without using like, electrolytes and some more like, maybe like an IV or something like that. That's really going to help you. But all you got is cold water and some coffee. That cold water helps a lot.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Yeah. There's a reason. Yeah, that's definitely solid. This could be a little bit of a cop-out answer, so I'll give this one, and then I'll go to my next one. But I am a big proponent of the fact that proper prior planning does indeed prevent piss-poor performance. It's all about trying to preempt the hangover. So, like, no matter what's going on, you just chug 32 ounces of water before you go to bed. And, if you can do that and then just stay up for, like, 30 minutes after that and just kind of ease out of the night you've just had. Usually for me, I can just beat them fair and square and not even have to deal with them. But if I do wake up, you immediately got to shower, brush your teeth, in the morning, and then you got to go and get some greasy food. I think
actually another thing that's really really solid, and just kind of take that. You say drink it before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best is when you wake up
middle of the night.
Kind of 2 hours
Sure.
before you have to actually get up. Like if you have to get up at 8, you get up, you pee at 6 o'clock. That's when you chug all your water. Then you go back to bed.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're really feeling, I've done this a lot too. You get up at 6, you take your shower, you chug your water, then you go back to bed for another 2 hours.
Rejuvenated.
And take ibuprofen. So you take ibuprofen. You probably get your headache. Maybe if you're lucky, you're still a little buzzed, so you're not going to be feeling it.
Yeah.
But then you go back to bed after taking the ibuprofen and the cold shower.
When I was at
killer.
Yeah, man. When we were at Pitt and we used to tie one on with ever increasing frequency, I was a proponent. I'd wake up in the morning and I would have one, and then you'd go chug some water, take some ibuprofen, and then the key for me, I'd go back to sleep for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but I'd put a second pillow over my head to keep the light out, and then I would wake up and I'd feel better. That definitely has nothing. That doesn't work, but
definitely didn't help.
Yeah,
I was just 20 years old.
yeah, not even. I was 18. What are you going to do, man? I hate to not monopolize the questions here, but this one I think you would actually be really stoked to answer. And we had a few that were kind of in this realm, wanting to know what our favorite moments from the Olympics have been. And actually we record this just as the closing ceremonies have come to a close here. So I know you and I both watched a solid amount of the Olympics this year. So do you have any favorite moments?
Oh, I have a lot of favorite moments.
Yeah.
And
the memes were great this year, man.
The memes were great. The Turkish shooter, as a shooter, was really solid.
I just followed him on Instagram last night.
Hell yeah, dude, incredible. I hope that. I mean, I hope that is a what's the word I'm looking for? Celebration. The pose. I hope that just sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's so many moments. Like honestly, I get choked up over sports all the time. I remember watching in 21 the two high jumpers, Barshim and Tambiro. They both shared the gold medal, and it brought me to tears watching in the morning because they worked, incredibly. Something that got to me this time, and you're gonna love this because it has to do with the hammer throw. And there was at least one thrower in most disciplines that was passing the torch. And Anita Wojnarowski was throwing.
Wodarczyk, yeah.
Wodarczyk, yeah. And Polish. Yes, Polish. And this is like her 5th Olympics, I think. She's like,
yeah. Well, she set the world record at Rio around then, 2016, which is 8 years ago, and yeah. So
she finished 4th by like 4 centimeters, which sucks. But Cameron Rogers won, and it was her first gold, and it was first thing. And it was like Anita went up and gave her a hug, and you could tell it meant so much to get that hug from her. Mm-hmm. And I was like she was getting hugs from everybody. And I was like, where's Anita? Like, I want to see that. And like, you could tell, like, I'm getting, I'm in Vince McMahon right now. I'm like, yeah. But like, she went over, and it just looked like that must be the best. Like, if you're an upcoming star, because Cameron Rogers is probably 23 years old, to be able to compete against, no doubtably, someone that she's watched tons of film, to be able to compete with, and to be able to, beat at the end of her career, and you get to like have, who knows what she said. She probably just said good job. Like, it could be the simplest things, but man, I was like, holy shit, like that's because that's what people compete to the Olympics, and then and that's when they hang it up. And there was a lady in discus that was like 40. Catherine Mitchell in javelin was like 42. I don't know if they were, but like being the world record holder, I think she had the Olympic record as well, most likely.
Yeah.
Like it was just so cool to like see the older athletes, and same thing with the men's basketball. I mean, Katie, LeBron, and Steph. Steph had this huge moment, and it was just like you just knew that they weren't coming back. And so those moments are really cool.
It's so cool when the generations overlap that way, because for the younger generation, you take the women's hammer, for example. I mean, Anita had set the world record a few times in the mid 2010s. I think Betty Edler from Germany had it before, and Anita really blew it out of the water, because I think it was just north of 80, and she ended up throwing, I think her world
84.
record was 82 or something like that. And it's something, when you're aspiring to get to that level, I don't think you ever forget the way you feel when you watch the best for the first time. So like when Anita set the world record, I mean, there were young female hammer throwers all over the world who saw that and were inspired about that, and you never forget the way that makes you feel. And then fast forward to this year when, you're going toe to toe with the person that inspired you. And, in Cameron's case, you beat them. It's a really, really crazy, thing. And it's such a beautiful part of sports, I would say.
Yeah. And it really, it shows up at the Olympics a lot because I don't know how much she's competing or, some of the older athletes, I mean, they really prioritize obviously getting to the games and,
right.
It's just hard to get the best people at the same meets all the time too. Because it's so spread out. So anytime you get everybody together, you're going to have moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How about you? Do you have one?
I in particular, and generally speaking, it's always unbelievable
handball.
to me. Handball for sure. Yeah. Andreas Wolf, the German goalkeeper, was unbelievable. He couldn't quite stop the onslaught from Denmark today, but he performed very admirably throughout the tournament. But no, for real though. I mean, that's for real, obviously, because it's handball. But I always love watching the sports where you compete individually, particularly towards the end of the competition when the champion has it in hand and they go for their 6th round attempt or their final attempt. And, as soon as that attempt is complete, you see the emotion, in the throwing events, as soon as that implement's out of their hand, in the weightlifting, which I watched most of this year, as soon as that bar drops, they're able to own their achievements. The competition is finished. And, it's really crazy because as somebody who has attempted athletics for, the last many, many years of my life, like this shit's hard. Like it's hard to be good at something. And it's hard. Like, even for me, like it's hard to like do what I've been able to do. And I can only imagine how difficult it would be to be the best in the world. And for example, I was watching, the women's 71 kilogram weightlifting session, and Olivia Reeves, who's 21, she's from the States. She won it. She had the competition won with her 2nd clean and jerk, and she went out to attempt an Olympic record for her 3rd and final attempt. She already had the competition in hand, and she just missed it. But like the emotion that overcomes somebody like that when, the competition is over and like you've achieved your dream, beating people who are much older than you, who have been around, as you said, for a long time. It's just the power of sport, and it's just cool to see people's dreams come true at the end of the day. And it was happening in every sport, every discipline you watch, and people's dreams come true, and people's dreams are shattered, often side by side. And that's always something that it's just not to get too interpretive, but it just really speaks to the human experience. And it's just, I love the Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics, especially. I look forward to them every single time. Oh yeah.
It was an amazing 2 weeks. I watched, every track event like fully through, but so many different events. And yeah, the hardest part to watch though is, and I know it firsthand too, is like the people that don't succeed, like,
right.
Especially if there's a lot of pressure, like, because if you're supposed to be a gold medalist and you don't win gold, like my friend said, a big hourglass just turned over. Like you have 4 years until you get to redeem yourself. And so then there's a few athletes like the 800 meter runner, Ryan Krauser, the shot putter, 800 meter women, Faith, 3-time champion every year, for 12 straight years, they're champions. And, but yeah, the people that are deserving to have a gold medal, like if they didn't get it, they have to wait 4 years. If somebody else had their best day ever, even though you've been carrying the number 1 world rank, for 4 straight years, like, you gotta get it. You gotta get it done. So crazy that, like you said, big hourglass.
And how little margin of error there is. Like I'm thinking of the men's 100 meter final. I think first place was 971, and last place in the final was 979. So that small of a fraction of a second.
No, they weren't all 9.7s.
It was an exceptionally close, like 1st through 6th was all within like a very small fraction. And it's just like the angle that your head is determines whether your dreams come true, or you're left on the outside looking in, like how razor thin the margin of error is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is really astonishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love it. I could definitely talk about a ton of different things, but that's for another episode, maybe. Not really, because this is the time to do it. But I'm gonna go ahead and crack another beer.
I think you should.
There we go.
Good for you.
No one's counting, but if they were, that's 3.
All right, couple rapid fires for you. What are your thoughts on new metal, Ethan?
Man, time and place, loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I'm glad I lived through it, because going back to it is tough sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't fit in the current landscape of music in a way. But man, Linkin Park, we talked about it recently last month, and so glad I was a Linkin Park kid,
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of fun.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, there's a time and place. My time and place might not be as often, perhaps, as others, but every
it was
now
high
and
school
then.
football. I mean, that's
Yeah,
time and place.
absolutely. Yeah, and
It's
it's been a while. It's been 10 years. Next question. Need good Midwest emo recommendations. That's a podcast episode in and of itself because we love the Midwest emo.
That is ton. So, when people ask you about Midwest emo, are you a stickler for the bands need to be from Illinois, Iowa,
No, I don't.
from the Midwest? Because
I don't think
I'll
so.
I'll name bands, and surely they're not going to be
Well,
from
that's
there.
the thing. I don't
so-
know where they're all from. That's the thing.
So American football, they have to be from there, right? But they're probably not.
Who knows? I almost don't want to know where these bands are from.
I was about to say, I can look it up really quick.
It would ruin it. Yeah, because I've tried in the past to make Midwest
pretty sure
emo
they're
playlists, and then it just morphs into just pop punk or other things that might not particularly be.
They're from Urbana, Illinois, so we're good.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. Yeah,
So if you need recommendations, start there. Ask Spotify to give you something, and I'm sure
it's pretty. I mean, you just follow American football and work your way forward, basically.
Actually, I think I was in when I was in Iowa for the Drake relays. I looked up, bands from Des Moines or bands from Iowa, and I was surprised that there weren't more bands that I knew. Actually,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's a lot lower number.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slipknot is the most
I think
most famous. Yeah, they were founded in Des Moines in the mid '90s. So they'll play like the Iowa State Fair every now and then, which is certainly interesting because it's just like a county fair or a state fair rather. But you know what? You never forget where you're coming from. So
love the state fairs. Okay. I have a question. Well, I wrote down a question, but I was going to pose as a follower, but I'll just say, what is one piece I was trying to think of good questions. Well, actually, I'll go up. If you had to start a band, Chris, with one of the following people, who would it be? You got Buzz Osborne, Jeff Ament, Pat Smear, or Billy Corgan?
Initial reaction: Buzz is out, and Billy's out. So between Jeff,
you gotta give reasonings.
Who was the other one? Pat Smear.
What? Pat Smear.
Jeff and Pat Smear. I'm gonna pick Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Ament. Yeah, I'm starting a band with him.
Jeff was my pick too.
Just because, you got to lay the bottom down, and if I can start with a top tier bassist, I think that really sets the wheels in motion. Obviously, Pat Smear would be a fantastic choice as well because people forget he was in the Germs and he was in Nirvana and he is in the Foo Fighters. But yeah, I think I'm picking Jeff. I don't really give much consideration to King Buzzo or to William Patrick Corgan. For the terms of this exercise, I just think from a personality standpoint, if I'm starting the band, I just don't want to. I just don't think it's going to be good for the for the creative direction of the band. I'd be overshadowed. It's just an insecurity thing. Yeah,
I mean, I was thinking really similar. Obviously, if you bring a frontman into the band, obviously Billy's going to take over. Buzz, I just I don't know how we're going to mesh.
Right.
But finding a bassist is really hard. So if you get a really good bassist from the start, and Jeff, who's going to help in songwriting and is going to bring really good stuff, and like you said, lay the bottom down, he's going to be somebody that's super valuable. Where Pat Smear, I mean, he is incredible for everything he does, but you probably can find a lot of people that does what Pat Smear does. Maybe not. I mean, he's been around for a long time, but so Jeff, it just makes sense to have a really solid bassist because both Jeff and Pat, you should be able to do whatever you want, and they're going to roll with it and just be happy to be there.
Yeah.
Maybe not Jeff, but definitely Pat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. I like that one.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. I feel like we've answered this before, but the question is SpongeBob grunge as fuck or what? I think SpongeBob's kind of grunge.
Yeah, I would say it's grunge because it probably...
the Chum Bucket.
It came out in the 90s, right?
Yeah. Yeah, late
Dude,
90s,
I saw a little reel, or post that had an epiphany about SpongeBob, and it was talking about Mr. Krabs and the secret formula. Did you see this?
Was it is it the long running theory that the secret formula isn't actually anything because he's a cheapskate and he wouldn't spring for extra ingredients and it was just a marketing ploy, or?
No, it is. It's a little different. So the theory is, like, if you look at the Krusty Krab, it is a not a tackle box. It's a crab. It's like a. I'm not
like a crab,
like a trap.
like a trap.
A trap. It's a trap. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a crab trap. So the idea is, like, the burger is actually crab meat, and he doesn't want to give it away because he's actually eating crab. And, like, in one of the episodes, he eats it and he goes, "So that's what I taste like." And and if you look at it, there's no other crabs in the whole show.
Oh.
He must take crabs and use it. So that's the secret formula, is this crab.
Yeah.
And it would be really, if people found out, they would be pretty upset.
Yeah, I'd be astonished. I have heard the one too about SpongeBob and this one actually makes a lot of sense, and I don't even know if it's just a theory or if it's something that was
I
actually
love the theories around it, obviously.
But because it takes place in Bikini Bottom, and I believe it might have been partially inspired because of the fact that there is a location in the Pacific Ocean called Bikini Atoll, where in the 1950s the United States tested nuclear weapons, and the theory goes that the radiation and the fallout caused mutations in the sea life there, and down in Bikini Bottom they can all speak and everything because of the nuclear fallout, and it morphed the genetic code, and that's why Bikini Bottom exists and why everybody's able to talk and everything, and it was just like a nuclear waste site, and I think that was actually like part of the inspiration for it. So
the writers were definitely high when they decided.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, come on,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
These guys are baked as shit. All the '90s cartoon was SpongeBob '90s. Did it start in '99?
Yeah, I think it started like '97 or something like that. Yeah. Indispensable part of my childhood for sure.
All those cartoons, dude. Obviously, all the weird ones.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh yeah, Courage.
Hey Arnold.
Ren and Stimpy, obviously the most.
Rocco's Modern Life. Pinky and the Brain. Ed and Eddie's the best, man.
Angry Beavers.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, they're all edgy. I love it.
Nostalgia. Here we go. No question here. I just love you guys. We love you too, man. That means a lot. I needed to hear that today.
Sending love your way. Absolutely.
Yeah, somebody wants to know what my max snatch and clean and jerk and squat is.
Max snatch, clean and jerk, and squat.
Yeah.
Let me take some guesses. You've told me these a ton of times, but obviously,
and I want to hear yours too.
I know. I think we just talked about it. I know your snatch is around 225 in pounds. So I think it's 235. So that's like 107 kilos is your max.
No, my best
109?
is it's 113, so it's 250. Yeah,
snatch. Oh, really?
Yes,
okay, you just
And
competed and you hit.
I didn't PR at the competition. No.
Yeah, you hit 107 though, right?
Yeah, I hit 107 in the competition. Yeah,
that's why that was in my mind.
Yep,
yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so you hit 250. That's solid. And then clean and jerk, 365.
355. So 161 kilograms. Yeah.
And your squat, I know your squat, the big 600.
The big 600 on the nose. Yeah.
600 club.
Yeah, man. What's your max snatch? You've done 225 before, right?
Yeah, I've successfully got 100. I've successfully got 100 kilos, and I 105. I got it above my. I mean, I should have caught it. I think that was 105 if it wasn't 110.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've definitely done 225 once or a couple times that year.
Yeah, dude.
Clean and jerk, 133 kilos. It's like 299. In pit.
I mean, doing a clean and jerk would be absolutely stupid for what you do right now. Like if you like cleaned and split jerk right now, like it's just not conducive for javelin. So
no, I mean, I want to do it. I actually my clean is my limiting factor. I had a jerk.
Oh, okay.
I've jerked 3 plates.
Yeah,
315.
I'm not surprised you have good overhead strength. Obviously,
exactly.
So.
And just I think my low back doesn't. I don't pull from the ground very well. Where I'm a little more explosive up top.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's your best squat?
My best squat, like full depth, is like 425.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you're training for something else, like it's not necessary to, to push just for the sake of pushing. So that's how
Yeah, my best
For-
reps. One time I did like 385 in Tom's barn during COVID for like
Oh yeah.
9 reps, and then I failed over my head on the front. Like I was just like, I'm going till I die, and I almost died. It was like 385. It was like really, you know.
Oh, that's a tough way to fail a squat. I don't think I've ever failed a squat that way.
Well, I was going down, and it was one of those things where the spotter's spotting you,
Yeah.
and you're like, my brother, I need you to get out of my way, and I couldn't throw the weight behind me, so I had to throw it in front of me.
Your hand
I'm not
was
saying it
forced.
was his fault, but I've done 425 legit. I've done safety bar maybe a lot higher, but
Yeah,
for some reason
sure.
I don't know why. I don't know how that's so much easier, but it is.
Yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look to get those numbers up this year.
Yeah, man.
Trying
Let's
to
do
get.
it.
I'm ready to. I'm ready to change. Morph to the next level of physical aspect.
Absolutely. I don't know how long this has been going. I forgot to set my watch, but I have to imagine we're about an hour in. So if you want to pick, if you have one more question that you want to ask, and I can pick one more from the list here.
I got two more that I got two more I wrote down, and the one I want to do, it's kind of a game.
Okay.
And I think you'd like it, but what the first question, and this may lead into it because I kind of looked on Wikipedia, but what is one piece of lore revolving around the meat puppets? And the answer, there's a ton of good lore, but the band was formed by Chris Kirkwood and Kurt Kirkwood.
Yeah.
And they went to Arizona State, and they bought 2 adjacent houses, and they played together and practiced their band. There was a 4-man band. But then bassist Chris was arrested December 2003 for attacking a security guard at the main post office in downtown Phoenix with the guard's baton. The guard shot Kirkwood in the stomach at least twice during the melee, causing serious gunshot injuries requiring major surgery.
Holy shit.
Kirkwood was subsequently denied bail. The judge citing Kirkwood's previous drug arrests and probation violations. He eventually went to prison in Arizona State, in Florence, Arizona, for felony assault. He was released in 2005. So he was shot twice. And I thought that I wanted to get some lore in there for some random band. And the meat puppets were it.
That's something that I think that would qualify as lore. I'm glad he's out. I hope he's doing okay. That just goes to show that's bullshit that they denied bail because of prior drug arrests. Dude, the war on drugs was a bunch of fucking bullshit, and all it did was just incarcerate people for nonviolent crimes and fuck their lives up. And Ronald Reagan can eat shit for that, and Richard Nixon too. Fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a lot, but I said what I said.
We can't edit it out. We can, but we can't.
No, we can't do that. Nice,
awesome.
Man. That's pretty solid. I don't think I really have anything else of these questions.
The other thing I wanted to do, Chris, this is like a game, like I said.
Okay.
So it's the Wikipedia game. So I want you to hop onto Wikipedia, so pull it up.
All right, we're on Wikipedia.
And I want you to search Eddie Vedder. And then what you do is you have to click, and we have to do the 7 degrees of separation to get to Kevin Bacon.
To get one page to another?
Yeah, so you have to get to Kevin Bacon because that's what everybody uses. Everybody says you can get to Kevin Bacon by 7 touches. So we're going to use, so I think we should end with Kevin Bacon, but you can start with any grunge thing you want, but I figured Eddie Vedder was good.
I'll start with Vedder.
All right.
Ah, man.
So I'm gonna follow along.
The problem is the issue, and we'll just spell it out.
Seven's tough. Seven's tough.
Seven's tough. I have 7 moves to get to Kevin Bacon. I also I don't really know how to get to Kevin Bacon because I don't.
You never. That's why you click around. You just have to know okay, if I click on, I think geographies are really good. Usually really.
You know what I think I'm gonna do?
Think you can do it?
I think I'm going. So I'm on Eddie Vedder's page. I'm even in the intro, and I see a link to Into the Wild, which is a film. I think that's going to be my first move.
Okay. Right. So when I did this, there is a website that you can play the Wikipedia. It just give you 2 random things, and you click around.
Yeah.
And they give you 120 seconds, 2 minutes.
Okay.
And I failed 4 different times, and I was kind of clicking fast, but
yeah.
I ended up getting 1 because it ended in Atlanta. There was the Olympic Games, and I got there. All right, Chris. So When you're ready, go. So I'm gonna click around. So just like let the people know when you're kind of scrolling through.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I've already selected.
What was
I've
a
gone
hot link on the Eddie Vedder Wikipedia?
Into the Wild. So I'm on the
the
Into the Wild page now.
Okay.
So now I need to decide. I'm just gonna scope through. Sean Penn. See, that's the thing. I don't know Bacon well enough to see like if there's because that could be simple because now I've got the whole cast of Into the Wild, and chances are there's somebody on here that's been in something with Kevin Bacon, but I just don't know.
Yeah, and then take a risk.
I have to take a risk.
I mean, you could also, I don't know where Kevin Bacon's from either, but there's Los Angeles is on here. You could click Los Angeles down there.
Yeah, but also, hear me out. Both Vince Vaughn and Zach Galifianakis are on here.
Wow. Zach Galifianakis is in there?
he was somebody named Kevin in Into the Wild. I think I might pick him.
Yeah, are you going Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah, because he does Between Two Ferns, right?
He does, yeah.
That's him. I feel like that could be.
So this is 3. We're on 3 right now, but we are in actors, so this is good.
Yeah. All right. So
man, there's a lot of movies right here.
Kevin Bacon, perhaps. I've never seen the Hangover trilogy in its entirety, so like I don't know if that could be a good link. Between Two Ferns, I feel like Kevin Bacon had to have been on there at some point.
Very well could be.
But
yeah.
I'm just not sure. I'm hoping for a prayer, honestly.
There's Saturday Night Live is down there. I don't know.
Dude, like, Saturday. But the thing is, like, do you think Kevin Bacon would have been mentioned in like
Jimmy
the master
Kimmel?
in the master document? You know.
But then if you just click on like, it could have like guests. You know, like I mean, you know, if you go down here and pick Jimmy Kimmel Live, if it was a guest, like they might.
I feel
have
like Between Two Ferns might not be bad.
Is it on here? Where is it?
Yeah, Between Two Ferns. It's in the intro. It says he also hosted the Funny or Die talk show Between Two Ferns. All right, I went to Between Two Ferns.
Okay, so that's 4. So we have 5, 6, 7. We got 3 more. This is gonna be tough.
It's got to be. He's got to be in one of the episodes, perhaps.
See, look, at least Donald Trump's campaign. If that was one, I would have never thought you would get there right there, or Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, they were both on it. That's right.
You just never know. The Chicago Tribune. You got Barack Obama right there. Justin Bieber. This is a good.
I'm right where I need to be. I just don't know.
You have a hot trail right now.
I couldn't tell you what Kevin Bacon has been in. That's the issue. Look
at all the guests. Yeah, all the guests are right here, man.
I just don't know, like his what's the word? Filmography.
You got to get the Footloose.
He was in Footloose.
Yeah, he's the main guy.
Well, that's news to me. I'm just not
seen Footloose.
Yeah, I just haven't. I'm just trying to think. Like I'm just looking through.
I just pulled up Kevin Bacon. I'm gonna give you a few. I'll give you a few hints. So like, let's see. Kevin Bacon's from Philly. I didn't know that.
You know what? Oh man, I think I might have fucked this up.
What'd you click on?
Because I can't go. Here we go. I think I made an extra step. I think I'm on the trail. So
okay.
All right. So I was on Into the Wild, and then I went to Galifianakis, and now I'm on Two Ferns.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Sean Penn. I should have gone Into the Wild to Sean Penn because I think if I remember right, I'm going to Sean Penn. If I remember right, Sean Penn was one of the main characters in Mystic River, and that took place in Boston, and it just feels like something.
Yeah, this is good.
It feels like that, perhaps. So I just need to find acting credits. Let's see. All right, Mystic River. Okay, I'm hedging my bet here because that's my 6th one, and I'm in Mystic River right now. He's got to be in the cast of this, right? Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin Bacon.
There he is.
Yeah, he was the cop. That's right. Yes. He was the detective.
No way.
And there he is.
Yep, I just saw.
I've got bacon on the mind.
You promised you didn't click ahead and see it?
No, I did not click ahead and see it. I just remembered. I couldn't remember. I know Kevin Bacon's face, and I was like, there's a storekeeper that doesn't talk about the murder that I thought was him. And I was like, he had to have been in it somehow. I've seen that movie like 3 times. That's why I remember.
That's amazing. So we went Eddie Vedder.
I took a detour.
Into the Wild.
Yep.
And
I might have run out.
Sean Penn. We went Galifianakis, Two Ferns,
Penn.
Mystic River. No, Sean Penn.
Penn. Oh,
Mystic River.
Yeah, and then I got to Bacon from that, so I was out actually. No, 7. I was on 7.
That was
You're
7
right.
because you went.
Yeah.
Let's do this again. Eddie, Into the Wild.
Yep.
Galifianakis, Two Ferns, Sean Penn,
Mystic River,
Bacon. Kevin Bacon. Your Bacon was on the screen, so you clicked on you. I don't know if you need. Yeah, I think you have to click. So
well, I should have gone Vedder, Into the Wild, Penn, Mystic River, Kevin Bacon.
You could have had it in 5.
I could have had it in 5, dude.
I'm impressed. That's great.
Thanks, man. I don't know how I remembered that.
Damn, give me one. Who should I start with?
That film came out. Are we starting in the grunge sphere? And you have to get to Kevin Bacon?
Or we end in the grunge sphere, yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's end in the grunge sphere.
That's really solid, Chris. I don't know if I'm Mystic River. I mean, I've definitely seen it. That's the one with.
I want you to go from Kevin Bacon to Jar of Flies.
Okay.
So we're starting with the bacon.
Okay, Kevin Bacon to Jar of Flies. See, yeah.
I just saw something that's gonna make it really easy.
Okay. Let's see. All right, so there are so many movies to pick from, and there's so many things. So you need one person to really have. Oh, there's like the James Dean classic. James Dean, I probably could get there from him. But what did you see? What your?
Oh, dude, it's so good too. I think you could get there in like 4 moves.
Well, what is it? Let's try to set a record. I'm okay with talking it out. Which one are you looking at?
All right, so I'm on Kevin Bacon's page,
right?
And he's married to Kyra Sedgwick, who was in the movie Singles, which features Alice in Chains.
Yeah, that's
who made
good.
Jar of Flies.
Did you already click through it?
Well, I know that's gonna work because yeah.
Let's see. All right, I clicked on her. Let's see. That is really good. I wouldn't have got that either. I didn't recognize that.
And you go to career, and it said during the 90s she appeared in several Hollywood movies, including Singles. Then you click on Singles, and then you go to the soundtrack, which says Alice in Chains, and then you just go to Alice in Chains, and you could go to their history or their discography. You'd have to do history because it's not listed in their discography, because it's an EP, and you just go history. You scroll down past Sap.
Wow.
Past Dirt, into the Jar of Flies, and then you're there.
How many is that? So 1, 2.
So I went
3,
Bacon,
4,
Sedgwick, Singles, Chains, Jar of Flies. So 5.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're good at this. I knew you'd be good at this,
dude. I've spent so much of my life trawling through Wikipedia, and this is a game that I've played before. I just didn't know that it was a Bacon tie-in. Like my brother and I, like when we were sitting around when I was a kid, he used to give me like 2 things, and he would get me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is
from one to the other. It's a classic.
I don't know why. I think for some reason it's because Kevin Bacon's been in so many movies and he shows up or something. But like
exactly,
the 7 Degrees of Separation is an idea, obviously that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. But I thought that would be fun to throw in there, and I think it's good.
That's a classic one to end on.
Let's do one to end with. Let's start at Soundgarden and end at The Big Lebowski.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Soundgarden.
All right. So if we're going to start with Soundgarden, I think we got to try to go to. I mean, we got Seattle. That maybe we could get to.
Oh, I think I got this. Seattle. I think I could be doing it.
Are you going through Seattle?
Yeah.
You could easily go with Pearl Jam. Might be easy too. Just Seattle, Washington.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to do, I just don't know if they're if it's included here in the history. It would be so easy if
to get
it
to a
can
soundtrack.
If it can be done. No, what I would do is it's going to be on Seattle's page or I have to go to history of Seattle. But I went from Soundgarden to Seattle. And then I would find somewhere on here the Seattle 7, which was like the protest group from the 60s, because the dude said he was in the Seattle 7, and I'm sure on the Seattle 7 Wikipedia page there's probably like a in pop culture section, and it would say it was referenced in The Big Lebowski.
So I think that's pretty solid. Like I said, I did not start a timer as well, but we got through some good questions, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So Chris, do you want to do songs of the week this week?
Yeah, I'll do songs of the week. Yeah.
Actually, I got a good one.
Yeah, I'll pick. I was vibing to a song called "Ain't That Peculiar" by a band named Fanny, which I believe is from the '60s. I don't really know much about them, but it came on in the car yesterday when we were going down to the beach bar, and it was pretty awesome. And I'm gonna listen to it.
Fanny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, "Ain't That Peculiar" by Fanny.
Hell yeah, I love it. Good summer song, I'm guessing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's exactly what we needed.
Awesome.
So, yeah, what's your song of the week?
I'm going to go with, and I sent it to you. The song is Amour Le Feu, and they played this song. It's by Johnny Holiday. They played it at the end.
Johnny Holiday.
Yeah, I actually heard it twice. They played it at the end of, at the Stade de France. Oh, he actually played. It looks like he played in 2019 in the Stade de France. He played in the stadium, a big show. He's a little bit older. I think he was. Let's see, how old is he? Oh, this is the thing. Anyway, they played it at the end of it. It's just big rock sounding. He sounds a lot like Pearl Jam, but he's from France, so he's a French singer. And the whole stadium was singing it, and it was beautiful. They played it at the beach volleyball gold medal round.
That's electric.
And they're just all screaming "Amour Le Feu," which is awesome. And yeah, I just think that it was really fun to listen to. So
yeah, we needed.
I'm not exactly sure. I think it translates to light the fire, start the fire. So
it's hard to say.
Just get excited. So yeah, I'm sure there's somebody that really loves Johnny Holiday out there, because I think he's a pretty big French.
He's
performer.
The GOAT.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Right. I love that.
That wraps up the episode 177.
Yeah, man, it's quitting time for sure. It's 8:30 p.m. East Coast time for me, and I have to be up in 9 hours. So it's time.
And Drew needs to edit it.
Yeah, Drew does need to edit it. He's waiting with bated breath for it, so he'll be ready for it. It'll be great.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for making it to the end of an episode. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Rock and roll.
Stay heavy out there.
Stay heavy. Cheers, everybody.